What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. And today's video is pretty exciting because it's going to be one of my more intensive videos that I do in terms of DIY, and that is because we're going to be trying to basically rebuild most of the differential on the Mach 1. So guys, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Jorge, and I've got a 2003 Mach 1 along with a 2019 Camaro SS, and I've had this car specifically for about 2 months now, and I've gone through a complete transformation from when I first bought it, from paint correction, detailing, wheels, removing some of the stuff that it came with. I mean, new headlights. A lot of stuff has gone into bringing this car back to life. But one thing that we need to get kind of situated, and it's the last thing that we need to work on this car, is the differential. So as you guys can see here, I left 2 marks, and it looks like the differential holds up really well. I mean, when the car is cold. So right now the car hasn't been moved in a day or two, so the fluids are all cool and everything. So the fluid in the differential is pretty cool and hasn't been warmed up or heated. And as you guys can see, it actually does lock up both wheels. I got 2 burnout marks here, so the car does lock up. But once you drive this car for over 20-30 minutes, things start to change. And that's because once the car's been driving for a while, the differential is moving, it heats up the oil, and that differential oil gets thinner, and things start to kind of move and loosen up inside the differential. And that is when you end up with something along the lines of the car just doing what's called a one-wheel peel, where only one car will peel, one tire will do a burnout while the other one just stays there. And that's because the differential is pretty much gotten warmed up and not going to work out. So like I mentioned, I just did the burnout here, and I didn't really move the car, drive it. So what I'm going to do now is go drive the car, get that differential kind of warmed up. Things we're going to need to do anyways to make it easier to drain the fluid and all that. But let's go drive it around, come back and see if we get a 2-wheel burnout or a 1-wheel burnout after it's been warmed up. Alright, so we just did a little drive, and I still haven't heard the kind of noises and groans that I was thinking I was gonna hear, but let's find out and see if it'll still do a 1-wheel peel. And it is pretty dry, but let's see how this works. Okay guys, this is exactly what I was trying to show you guys. As you guys can see, the first 2 skid marks here, the top ones here, this one here on the outside and this one here, was when the car was completely cold. But then we did a little drive around and came back again, and as you can see from this back side, it looked like it was about to grab on both ends, but no skid mark on this side. And as you guys can see, this skid mark goes all the way up. Alright guys, so the car is on the lift. It's good to go. Before we get to actually working on this, let's look at what we ordered. And here is everything we ordered. Thanks a lot to LMR. I'm not sponsored by them, but they had the best prices and everything available and shipped pretty much 2-day shipping, which was amazing. But of course, the main thing that we got here is our traction lock kit, which are our friction locking discs. And these come with the all new, pretty much the whole kit you can use in various space shims. For the end, comes with your friction modifier and a new bolt that you'll be using. So this will help eliminate the 1-wheel peel. Then one thing that this car had was also some noises once the car got warmed up. Aside from getting a 1-wheel peel, we also had some noise which I didn't get to make. I had to drive the car for about 20 minutes and get it really warm to see and feel. Basically anytime you're turning, reversing, it felt like screeching, like rubbing, like tire rubbing kind of thing. It was a really unpleasant noise. And doing my research and stuff, one of the things that I found could be the culprit is these spider gears. So I've got brand new Ford Performance spider gears for the 8.8. It comes with the 2 main planetary gears and then these little spider gears, that pinion gears, I guess. So it comes with all new for the whole things, and that's where these clutches go in. And for the Mach 1, if you have a Mach 1, they do use a 28 spline. That's these little gears here, 28 spline, or actually the inside here, planetary gears. So this kit is probably the most expensive part of everything here. These were almost $200 from Ford. You can buy some aftermarket ones from like Yukon and USA, but I don't want to deal. I've had mixed reviews and wanted to make sure that I fixed it first time and one time only, not have to get back in there. So I went with the Ford. Since we're going this deep, I did notice that the differential was leaking from the pinion the front side of the differential. So I got a brand new pinion seal from Ford as well. Everything is basically from Ford. And then of course we've got our all new differential fluid with the modifier, along with an 8.8 lube locker gasket, which will make it very easy to bolt everything back up and not have any leaking and not have to deal with any of the silicone or any of that stuff. So that'll make this job really easy. Some of the things that I got, of course, are some shop towels, some brake clean to clean out all the oil and stuff from the cover, and of course some working gloves for when we're working with all that oil. Okay guys, so the very first step before you even get working on the car, when you're trying to replace these clutch packs, is you want to pre-soak these in a friction modifier. There's 6 of them, there's 3 on each side, and so it comes with the friction modifier. So we're going to pour that in here, and we're going to try to get these completely soaked and make sure that they're soaked for at least 30 minutes before we put them on. That'll ensure you don't get any type of chattering or clattering once you actually finish the whole job. Alright guys, so see here we've got them all nice and coated. They're kind of sitting there, and just kind of let it really soak in. It's this friction modifier stuff really smelly, so let it just sit in there and let's get to work, guys. So first thing we got to do is of course remove the 2 rear wheels. But before that, let's go ahead and get down under here and show you guys what we're working with. So, as you guys can see, it's pretty grimy. So it looks like it's been leaking. It's actually has 2 tags. Usually these cars only have 1, and that's the identifier. So we'll kind of clean all that up once we remove everything. But for now, what we want to do is basically remove the wheels. Then we're gonna drain this out and go from there. But as you guys can see, it's pretty grimy. Just a lot of work, but little by little we'll get it done. Alright guys, so I've already removed the disc and the brakes, and my brakes are really bad. I gotta get those fixed, but here is what you end. So now let's go ahead, and what we're gonna do is we gotta remove, there's 10 bolts around, and we've gotta make sure we have something to catch the fluid. But what we're gonna do is remove all of the ones, loosen all the ones up, even the very top one, but leave the top one just loosen, like halfway through, so that whenever we pop this off, this thing stays in place and doesn't make sure you have a mess. It'll slip all the fluid out pretty right down just in this spot, instead of falling over and causing a mess all around your area. Alright guys, so I've got the differential cover off. Now, seeing as this is pretty dirty, that is what we're going to be using a lot of the brake clean for. Is we're going to make sure we clean all this up. We want to make sure this surface is super clean. As you guys can see, it still has gasket around. So we're going to scrape all that off. We use brake clean to clean it off. And then, of course, clean up all the bottom side. But right now it's got a lot of oil and stuff, so let's put it off to the side here. And then looking down from the bottom, you guys can see we've still got a lot of gasket we got to clean up there, but there is our main differential, the internal workings of it. Alright guys, so here we have it. I've kind of cleaned it all up, and as you guys can see here are the spider gears, and you can see that they're pretty worn. So what we need to do is get down here to this bottom pin here. That's an 8mm, and we're going to remove that so that we can pull this pin out. Then we can get up here to, as you guys can see, the S clip, and we should be able to remove the C clips from the axles. And the way you do that is you push the axle inward, and then you get a little magnet, and you should be able to slide the C clip out on both ends, and that should be able to relieve the axles, and you can slide them all the way out. Okay guys, so we've got some progress. I've removed the S clip. I've also removed the C clips from the axles, and as you guys can see, the axles are completely out. And I did use a small 3-pound magnet. That's what you want to use. For the S clip, I didn't have a wood or something, but I did use this as my hammering thing for the thing, like Chris Fix does with his, where he uses the wood and hammers it through the backside, and I'll show you that right now. Alright, so once you've removed the smaller bolt, and then get the pin out, the next thing is those C clips, which again, like I said, I use that to remove the axles. And then for the S clip, you just hammer it in as far as it can go back, then spin it back around, make sure the car's in neutral for that, and then just get it with some compression pliers, needle nose pliers, and just wiggle it all the way out till it can come out. So now we are here, and now we are ready to go ahead and remove these spider gears. And before I remove, I want to show you guys just how loose this is. I mean, look at this. Like these things are super loose. See that? That should not be happening. It should not be having that much play. So that's just from being really worn. So the way you remove these is you have to go ahead and basically spin it one way and start spinning it, and they come out. Chris Fix has a good video on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove all this and then put it on the table and show you guys the comparisons. Okay guys, so we've got everything out, and man, check the difference out. See how thick these splines are here, and now look at these. Look at how much it's been worn out. Now these pretty much were probably the OEM ones that came with the car, but you can definitely see how much of a difference that is. And then here are our clutch packs, and I haven't removed them completely, but we can kind of start going through. This is the first metal shim. This is sometimes doesn't come off. It stays in the housing, so you want to make sure you can get that. So we've got the metal shim, and then here's our first clutch pack, and man, this stuff is, look at that. They are pretty much done skis. You do not see anything on here, guys. Compared to our clutch packs that we have soaking, I mean, you can tell there's just not much left for it to grip onto. It is completely thinned out, and that is why the car basically was one wheel peeling. It's just completely no more material. I mean, it's super smooth. There's no way that is going to grab any kind of friction. So now what we're going to do is go ahead, and I'm going to keep these in order because I want to make sure that I put everything back in the same order. Alright guys, so there you have it. I just measured this one using a clamp, and it measured out at 0.63 inches, and that is definitely worn for this. Normally for a stock application, you want it to be about 0.64 to 0.645 inches, and but you also can get it as thick as 0.655 inches if you're looking for a performance pack, which is basically means you're going to be a little thicker, and it'll clamp on a little bit more. But the thicker you clamp it on, if you go with the 0.65, 655, you might start hearing some popping noises when you're making turns. Just something that you got to live with, I guess, but know why it's popping. We're going to go back to an OEM of about we're going to go right in the middle of performance and stock and put it right about 0.65 inches. And we're going to be able to do that with this various sized shims that come with the stock clutch pack. So, okay guys, so here we go. I've already gone ahead and assembled it, and I was able to measure it. And like I mentioned, this Ford traction lock kit, which is not the carbon fiber clutch pack kit, this is the just standard Ford one, comes with 3 different type sizes of shim. So you got a 0.03 inch, 0.035, and you can go up to a 0.04 shim. So you basically can pick whichever one, and then like I mentioned, you can get it as thick or as thin as you want. The thinnest, which is this, which will give me, when I measured it with my $10 caliper, was 0.65, and it only goes to 2 decimals, so I'm not sure if it's 0.655, but I'm pretty sure it's basically 0.65. But it is the thinnest of them all, so I do not want to go any higher. We've got it all taken care of. Now we can do the other one and go back to installing it. What is going on, guys? So from that last little clip you saw, it is now the next day and we still have the car up. So unfortunately, our new spider gears did not quite fit. Whenever I assembled it all back again in the differential, the S-spring, which is supposed to be on there pretty much compressed and hard to get on, just was able to slide in right, and everything was super loose. And I'll put up the pictures right now of the difference. These little spider gears here are much smaller than the ones that I had in my car, and along with these planetary side gears, they were shorter and smaller, so basically left everything very loose. Now this car did have a 355 limited slip with an 8.8, so I'm not sure why this isn't the same. Someone could have maybe done the replacement or swapped things out before, but anyways, what I ended up doing was going back with the original gear set and just changing out the clutches. And I'm hoping that changing out the clutches is going to help get rid of the noises that I was hearing and give me the same results. So let me show you guys how it looks. Alright guys, so now we've got everything back in, and again, basically put back the same gears, but everything is much tighter now. So before, when we would move the axle, these upper spider gears kind of were really loose and moving around, but now let me go ahead. As you guys can see, I'm moving the axle, and the only thing that's really moving is the nice backlash that we have from our bigger rack and pinion gear. So the clutch packs gave it that extra little space to tighten all this gear and all the gears up again, and hopefully get it to be a lot tighter, which is really good, really nice. So we went back. One thing is, you guys make sure the S-spring is very, very difficult to do, and it takes a lot of clamps, and you know, I ended up using 2 different clamps on different ends just to get it started on one corner and then kind of just hammer it through. Also, make sure that you put your seat clips in first before you put in your pin, because if not, you won't be able to get the seat clips in. Other than that, guys, you can find really good how-to videos from other Chris Fix, like I mentioned before. Now we've just got to put the cover back on, top it off, and then put our brake calipers and sensors and everything back on. Differential cover went back on, and if you guys remembered, I had the pinion seal that goes where the drive shaft is. Well, I figured I've already got the differential drain, let me just go ahead and do that out of the way. It was leaking from there, but to do that, you want to make sure you put everything back in terms of the calipers and discs, rotors, and everything, because you want to put the e-brake to be able to get the pinion nut off. But had one hell of a time compressing this piston, guys. So you see this piston here? It's got 2 notches, and the way that these Ford Mustangs compress the pistons is by twisting them. They twist inwards, and the only real easy way to do that is you have to rent this tool, guys. I had to go and rent this from O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and it comes with these little 2 notches, and it comes with a bunch of different sizes, and you find the right size that'll slip in the notches, and then basically just get this in there, and you have to put the brace in, and then just slide it in this way like this, and then you basically tighten it up by going counterclockwise on this, and then you do clockwise on the rotation. So you use this nut here to counterclockwise to tighten it, and once it's tightened, then you clockwise spin this whole assembly and rotate that piston until, and as you're rotating, you keep tightening this nut here. As you're rotating clockwise, you can rotate counterclockwise, and that piston slides in real easily. Well guys, man, as you guys can see, I've got the wheels back on. I did go ahead and change out finally my pinion seal, which is right up there where the drive shaft ends, and then I went ahead and filled up the differential, added the extra modifier that it requires, and put the wheels back on, and now it's time to see if it'll turn fine without any noise. All right guys, so got the car in first gear, and I don't hear any noises besides the exhaust, which is a good thing. No leaks. I did forget to put the wheel speed sensor on, so I'm gonna have to remove the wheel and put that back on. No big deal. Hopefully I can get to it pretty quickly before I have to mess with anything. But yeah, other than that, everything looks good. No leaking on the diff cover, no sounds, no nothing. So yeah, I think we're good to go, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and just put everything back together, get that wheel speed sensor on, and drive it around a few days and see if the squeaking noises are still persist, and also see if it'll actually lock up after a bit of driving with both wheels. But anyways guys, something that you think is easy, or not even think is easy, but you feel like you've got all the right equipment, the right tools, the right parts. This is kind of the things that some shops deal with. You know, that's why your car can sometimes be there for a week or two, is because you order parts that you think are going to be the correct parts, and they turn out to not be. So I decided to just go back and with the old ones, put the new clutch pack in. Everything's back up and going, and hopefully this will be it, and the car will be good to drive again. Man, this vlog's been all over the place, but just goes to show that, I mean, things eventually will get done, but it's a lot of tools involved. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.